My daughter was crying in the parking lot because her invitation was ripped from her hand, right in front of 20 silent relatives. They said the party was only for the successful grandchildren. 2 days later, they found out I control every dollar in the family fortune. And their luxury lifestyles were hanging by my signature. Let me take you back to the beginning. The invitation arrived on a Tuesday afternoon, thick ivory cardstock with gold-embossed lettering. My grandmother, Margaret Holloway, was turning 80 years old. The celebration would be held at Ridgemont Country Club in the suburbs of Richmond, Virginia, a place where old money gathered to remind itself that it still mattered. My daughter Emma, 9 years old, spotted the envelope before I could even set down my purse. "Mama, what is that? Is it for a party?" I opened it carefully. The invitation was beautiful, formal, and it included all three of our names. Mine, Emma, is, and my son Nathan is, who had just turned 7. Emma grabbed my arm. "Can I wear my purple dress? The one with the bow?" "Of course, sweetheart. Whatever you want." Nathan looked up from his coloring book. "Will there be cake?" "I am sure there will be, buddy." They were so excited. My heart ached watching them. They did not get invited to many family events. My side of the family had quietly distanced themselves from us after my divorce 3 years earlier. I was no longer the success story. I was the cautionary tale. But this was Grandma Margaret's 80th birthday. Surely that meant something. Saturday arrived faster than expected. Emma wore her purple dress with white tights and little black shoes she had picked out herself. Nathan wore his church khakis and a navy blue button-down shirt. He complained that the collar was itchy, but he looked so handsome. I drove my 12-year-old Honda Accord through the winding roads toward the country club. The engine made a rattling sound I had been ignoring for months. I told myself I would get it checked eventually. There was always something more urgent. The parking lot was filled with luxury vehicles, BMWs, Mercedes, a white Lexus SUV that I recognized as my cousin Lauren's. I parked in the back corner between a catering van and a maintenance truck. We walked toward the entrance. Emma held my left hand. Nathan held my right. They were nervous. I could feel it in the way they squeezed my fingers. The clubhouse entrance had tall white columns and double glass doors. Standing just inside was my cousin Lauren. She wore a cream-colored designer dress and pearls that probably cost more than 3 months of my rent. Her children, Madison and Brett, stood beside her. They looked like catalog models. Perfectly pressed, perfectly bored. Lauren was greeting guests with air kisses and exaggerated smiles. When she saw us approaching, her expression shifted. The smile faded, her eyes turned cold. I kept walking. "Emma, Nathan, let us go say hello." We reached the door. Lauren held up her hand like a crossing guard stopping traffic. "Stop right there, Rebecca." Her voice was loud, too loud. People behind us paused. Guests in the foyer turned to watch. "I beg your pardon?" Lauren stepped forward. She looked at my children like they were stray animals. "This party is for successful grandchildren only, not children of failures." Emma's grip on my hand tightened. Nathan looked up at me, confused. "Lauren, the children are on the invitation. Their names are printed right there. Those invitations were sent before we finalized the guest list. Grandma Margaret only wants grandchildren who reflect well on the family name." I felt my chest tighten. "They are 7 and 9 years old. What are you talking about?" Lauren tilted her head, old enough to understand where they stand. She reached out and plucked the invitation from Emma's small hand. My daughter gasped. Lauren looked at my children with a cruelty I will never forget. "Your mother is a divorced woman who works a dead-end job and drives a car that belongs in a junkyard. You do not belong here. This is a celebration for grandchildren who make Grandma Margaret proud, not disappointments." Emma's eyes filled with tears. Nathan pressed his body against my leg. I looked around. 20 relatives stood watching. My uncle Richard, my aunt Diane, my younger brother Kevin with his wife Stephanie, cousins, family friends, people I had known my entire life. Not one of them said a word. Lauren smiled. "You understand, do you not, kids? Some families succeed, some do not. You come from the ones who do not." A tear rolled down Emma's cheek. Nathan started crying quietly. I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab Lauren by her pearls and drag her outside. But my children were watching. They were learning. And I would not teach them that anger was the answer. I knelt down slowly. I looked into Emma's wet eyes. "Let us get our coats, okay?" "But Mama," Emma whispered. "It is Grandma's birthday." "I know, sweetheart. But we are going to leave now." I stood. I walked to the coat check. I collected our things. And I walked back through that entrance, past 20 silent relatives, past Lauren's smug smile, past Madison and Brett who looked at my children like they were beneath them. Nobody stopped us. Nobody apologized. Nobody said a single word. We drove home in silence. Emma cried softly in the back seat. Nathan stared out the window. "Mama," he finally said, "are we really failures?" My heart broke into 1,000 pieces. "No, baby. We are not." But Cousin Lauren said, "I know what she said. She was wrong. If you are watching this right now, let me know in the comments which city you are from. I am curious where this story is reaching, and trust me, you are going to want to stay until the end." That night, I made grilled cheese sandwiches. I let the kids watch extra cartoons. I tucked them into bed and told them I loved them more than anything in the world. Then I sat alone in my home office. I opened the locked drawer in my desk. Inside was a manila folder I had not touched in months. Inside that folder was the truth. The Holloway Family Trust. Established by my grandfather Thomas Holloway, 32 years ago, funded with $34 million from his commercial real estate holdings. What nobody in my family knew, except my grandmother, the family attorney, and myself, was that my grandfather had named me trustee when I turned 25. I remember the day he told me. He was sitting in his study, oxygen tank beside his chair, eyes still sharp despite his failing body. "Rebecca, you are the only one in this family who understands that money is responsibility, not entitlement. I am putting you in charge. You will decide who deserves support, and you will watch them carefully. See who they really are when they think you have nothing." He passed away 3 months later, and I had been honoring his wishes ever since. For 5 years I had managed that trust in silence. Every single distribution required my signature. Lauren is $65,000 per quarter. Uncle Richard is business loans. Aunt Diane is country club memberships. Kevin is mortgage subsidy. They all thought the money came automatically. Like magic, like birthright. It did not. It came through me. And I had never taken a single dollar for myself. I lived on my salary, $97,000 a year as a senior financial analyst for a healthcare consulting firm, not a dead-end job, not a failure. A deliberate choice to live within my means while building college funds for my children. The old car, the modest townhouse, the simple clothes, all choices, not limitations. I had watched my family take their quarterly checks and mock me for having less. I stayed silent because grandfather asked me to observe, to evaluate, to see their true character. Now I had seen enough. Monday morning, I called Howard Chen, the family attorney who had worked with my grandfather for over 20 years. "Howard, it is Rebecca. I think it is time we make the trust structure public." There was a pause on the line. "You are certain this will cause significant disruption?" My children were publicly humiliated on Saturday. 20 family members watched and said nothing. "I am certain." I could hear him exhale slowly. "I will schedule a mandatory beneficiary meeting. All trust recipients must attend or risk suspension of their distributions." We set the meeting for Thursday evening at Howard's downtown office. Thursday arrived. I picked up Emma and Nathan from school early. "Where are we going, Mama?" Emma asked. "To a meeting. I need you both with me." Nathan looked worried. "Will Cousin Lauren be there?" "Yes." "Will she be mean again?" I looked at my son through the rearview mirror. "Probably. But I need you to be brave. Can you do that for me?" They both nodded. They did not look confident, but they trusted me. Howard's office was in a historic brick building in downtown Richmond. Tall ceilings, dark wood paneling, the kind of place where serious things happened. We arrived 15 minutes early. Howard met us in the reception area. "Rebecca, Emma, Nathan, come with me. The conference room is ready." He led us down a hallway into a large room with a long mahogany table. Chairs lined both sides. A projector screen hung on the far wall. Howard knelt down to speak to my children. "You two can sit right here, next to me. Your mother needs to sit at the head of the table." Emma looked at me nervously. I gave her a small nod. "It is okay, sweetheart." Family members began arriving. Uncle Richard first, looking irritated that he had to leave work early. Aunt Diane complained about traffic. Kevin arrived with Stephanie, avoiding eye contact with me. Lauren came last. Of course she did. She swept into the room wearing another designer outfit, Madison and Brett trailing behind her like accessories. She stopped when she saw me seated at the head of the table. "What is she doing here?" Howard remained calm. "Miss Holloway is here because this concerns her directly. Please everyone, take a seat." Lauren rolled her eyes. "This better be quick. I have dinner reservations. If you are still watching, hit that like button right now, because what happens next changed everything." Howard waited until everyone settled. The room hummed with impatience and irritation. Thank you all for coming. This meeting is mandatory for all trust beneficiaries. The trustee has requested that I clarify the trust structure and current management protocols. Uncle Richard shifted in his seat. Fine. When do our next distributions process? I have payroll obligations. That depends on several factors we will discuss today. Howard dimmed the lights. The projector flickered to life. A document appeared on the screen. This is the Holloway Family Trust, established by Thomas Holloway in 1993. It was initially funded with $34 million from his commercial real estate portfolio. Current valuation sits at approximately $41 million due to investment growth. Lauren was texting. She barely glanced at the screen. Howard continued. The trust was originally managed by Thomas Holloway himself. Upon his death, management passed to a designated trustee named in the original documents. Aunt Diane waved her hand impatiently. We know all this, Howard. You manage it, just tell us about the distributions. Howard paused. Actually, Mrs. Patterson, I do not manage the trust. I am the legal counsel. I do not authorize distributions. The room went quiet. Then who does? Kevin asked. Howard clicked to the next slide. A signature line appeared on the screen. My signature. My name. The trustee makes all management decisions. Every distribution requires trustee approval. He looked around the room slowly. Rebecca Holloway has served as trustee for 5 years. Silence. Complete silence. Then Lauren laughed. That is impossible. Rebecca does not have the qualifications to manage a lemonade stand, let alone a family trust. Howard did not flinch. Actually, Miss Holloway holds a master's degree in finance from the University of Virginia. She works as a senior financial analyst for one of the largest healthcare consulting firms in the Mid-Atlantic region. She is eminently qualified. He clicked to another slide. More importantly, Thomas Holloway chose her specifically. This is his letter of instruction. My grandfather's handwriting filled the screen. Howard read it aloud. I appoint my granddaughter Rebecca as trustee, because she alone understands that wealth is responsibility, not entitlement. She will evaluate each family member's character and determine who deserves continued support. Her decisions are final and binding. Lauren stood up so fast her chair scraped against the floor. This is ridiculous. This is some kind of joke. It is not. Howard's voice remained steady. Rebecca has personally approved every distribution for the past 5 years. Every quarterly payment you have received required her signature. Uncle Richard leaned forward, face pale. Every payment? My business loans? Approved by Rebecca. Aunt Diane gripped the edge of the table. My club memberships, my travel allowances. Rebecca approved those as well. Lauren was shaking. She snatched a stack of documents Howard had placed on the table. Distribution approvals, quarterly payments, 4 years of records. Every single page had my signature at the bottom. Her face turned red. You have been controlling my money this entire time. The trust money, I corrected quietly, which grandfather gave me authority to distribute as I see fit. This is insane. Lauren's voice cracked. You are a divorced failure driving a car that should have been scrapped years ago. The car runs fine, and I choose to live on my salary. Unlike you, I do not take distributions for myself. Howard nodded. Rebecca has never claimed a trustee distribution. She lives entirely on her employment income. Lauren stared at me. Then you are an idiot, perhaps. But I am the idiot who controls your income. I stood up slowly. Howard, please present the incident report from Saturday. Howard had helped me prepare a formal statement. He read it to the room. The invitation that included my children is names. Lauren's announcement that the party was for successful grandchildren only. Her statement that my children were evidence of my bad choices. The 20 witnesses who remained silent. Emma and Nathan sat perfectly still. They listened to their humiliation being documented in official language. My heart broke for them, but they needed to see this. Lauren crossed her arms. That is completely taken out of context. Which part? I asked calmly. The part where you ripped an invitation from a 9-year-old girl's hand, or the part where you told my children they did not belong because their mother is a failure. I was enforcing standards. Lauren's voice was defensive now. Grandma Margaret's party should have been attended by grandchildren who make her proud. You were cruel to children, in public, in front of 20 relatives who did nothing. I looked around the table slowly. That showed me exactly what grandfather wanted me to see. Your true character. Howard pulled up another slide. As trustee, Rebecca has the authority to modify or terminate distributions to any beneficiary based on conduct deemed harmful to family welfare. Aunt Diane gasped. You cannot do that. I can. It is explicitly stated in the trust documents. Grandfather anticipated this possibility. I turned to face Lauren directly. Your quarterly distribution is suspended. Effective immediately. What? You humiliated my children. You called them failures. You made my daughter cry in a parking lot while 20 adults watched and did nothing. That is harmful conduct. Lauren's face went white. You cannot afford your lifestyle without that money, Uncle Richard said quietly. He was not defending her. He was stating a fact. Neither can you without your business loan payments. I turned to face him. Those are suspended as well. Rebecca, I have employees. Families depending on those payments. You should have thought about that before you stood there watching my children be humiliated and said nothing. I looked at Aunt Diane. Your club memberships and travel allowances are suspended. But I have a charity luncheon next week. I am sure you will figure something out. I turned to Kevin, my own brother. He looked terrified. Your mortgage subsidy continues. You at least looked uncomfortable on Saturday. I saw you shift your weight. I saw you look away. That is not much, but it is something. Kevin swallowed hard. Thank you. However, if I ever hear of you staying silent during family cruelty again, that changes immediately. Understood? Yes, understood. I sat back down. The room was silent. The trust will continue to provide distributions to family members who demonstrate basic human decency. For those who do not, you will need to find alternative income sources. Lauren was trembling. I will fight this. I will sue. I will take you to court and prove you are unfit to manage this trust. Howard cleared his throat. You are welcome to pursue legal action, Miss Holloway. However, I should inform you that the trust documents contain a no contest clause. Any beneficiary who files suit and loses forfeits all future distributions, permanently. How much would she lose? Stephanie asked quietly. Kevin's wife had barely spoken all evening. Lauren receives $65,000 per quarter. That amounts to $260,000 per year. Over 20 years, assuming the trust continues at current performance levels, she would forfeit approximately $6 million. Lauren collapsed back into her chair. Let me be absolutely clear. I kept my voice calm, measured. This is not revenge. This is consequence. You treated my children with cruelty. You did it publicly. You did it proudly. That tells me everything I need to know about your character. They are just kids. Everyone turned. Madison had spoken. Lauren's own daughter. She looked at her mother with something like disgust. Sophie and Nathan did not do anything wrong. Why were you so mean to them? Lauren's composure crumbled. Madison, you do not understand the situation. I understand you made Emma cry. I saw her face when we were leaving. She was so excited about the party. And you ruined it. Madison looked at me. I am sorry, Aunt Rebecca. That was really mean. I felt tears prick my eyes. Thank you, Madison. That means a lot. Howard stood. Unless there are further questions about trust administration, this meeting is concluded. Rebecca will review all distributions quarterly. Requests for reinstatement may be submitted in writing. People filed out slowly. Most avoided eye contact. Kevin approached me hesitantly. I really am sorry, he said. I should have said something on Saturday. I was a coward. Yes, you were. He flinched but did not argue. Will you really keep my mortgage payments? For now, but Kevin, you need to do better. We are family. That is supposed to mean something. He nodded and left without another word. Emma and Nathan had been silent throughout the entire meeting. Now Emma tugged at my sleeve. Mama, did you really control all their money this whole time? The family trust money, yes. And they did not know? They did not know. Nathan looked thoughtful. So they were mean because they thought you were poor. Something like that, buddy. That is really dumb. He shook his head. You are nice whether you have money or not. That is what matters. I knelt down and pulled both of them into my arms. That is exactly right, baby. That is exactly right. If you are still here, comment below and tell me what you would have done in my position. I am genuinely curious. We went out for dinner that night. A nice steakhouse downtown. My treat. Emma ordered whatever she wanted. Nathan got dessert before his main course. They deserved every bit of it. Over the following weeks, I received several letters. Aunt Diane's letter was apologetic. She admitted she had been too focused on appearances. She asked for a second chance. Uncle Richard's letter was angry. He threatened legal action. He called me vindictive and power-hungry. He said I was destroying the family. Lauren sent nothing. I reinstated Aunt Diane after 3 months. She apologized to my children directly. She took them to lunch and told them they were wonderful exactly as they were. That mattered. Uncle Richard remained suspended. His business struggled. He eventually sold it and took a salaried position at another company. He never apologized. Lauren's life collapsed. The house went on the market. The luxury cars disappeared. Private school ended for Madison and Brett. The country club membership lapsed. 6 months later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered anyway. Rebecca, it is Lauren. I am listening. A long pause. I need help. What do you want me to do? Another pause. Longer this time. I was wrong. What I did to Emma and Nathan was cruel. I have been thinking about it every day. Madison barely speaks to me anymore. She says I am a bully. Have you apologized to my children? Not yet. Come to dinner on Sunday. Apologize to Emma and Nathan directly. Then we can discuss reinstatement. She came. The apology was genuine. I could see it in her eyes. She knelt down to my children as level and told them she was deeply sorry for hurting them. She admitted she had been wrong. She did not make excuses. Madison hugged Emma. I am really sorry my mom was so mean to you, she said. I told her it was wrong. She did not listen then, but she is listening now. Emma smiled. It is okay. People can change. After dinner, Lauren and I sat on the back porch while the kids played in the yard. I will reinstate your distributions at 50%, I said. 32,500 per quarter. Lauren nodded slowly. I can work with that. And Lauren, if you ever treat my children that way again, you are done, permanently. No appeals, no second chances. Understood. It took almost 2 years, but the family dynamic shifted. People learned that kindness was not optional. That cruelty had consequences. That character mattered more than quarterly checks. Grandmother Margaret passed away peacefully, 8 months after her 80th birthday. In her final weeks, she called me to her bedside. Your grandfather was right about you, she said. You have more strength than anyone in this family, more integrity. I am proud of you, Rebecca. I always have been. She squeezed my hand weakly. Take care of them, even the difficult ones. Family is all we have in the end. I promised her I would. At her funeral, I sat in the front row with Emma and Nathan. Lauren sat a few rows behind us. When I turned to look at her, she gave me a small nod, respectful, humble. Uncle Richard did not attend. His choice. A few months ago, Emma asked me something while she was doing her homework at the kitchen table. Mama, why did Great-Grandpa pick you to be in charge of the trust? I set down my coffee cup, because he believed I would be fair. Were you fair to Cousin Lauren? I thought about it carefully. I think so. I held her accountable, but I also gave her a chance to change. Emma nodded slowly. That is good. She went back to her math worksheet. A minute later, she looked up again. When I grow up, I want to be in charge of important things too. You can be anything you choose, sweetheart. She smiled. But I will be kind about it. Like you. I felt tears sting my eyes. That is the only way to do it, baby. The trust continues. Family gatherings continue. But now, when we arrive, my children walk in with their heads high. They know they belong. They know their worth has nothing to do with money or status or someone else's opinion. And if anyone ever forgets that, I have the quarterly distributions to remind them. If you are still watching right now, thank you for being here with me until the end. This story means more to me than I can say. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not already, comment below and tell me your favorite part, and hit that like button if this story made you feel something. I will see you in the next one.